Hey there guys, Reckoning here. Welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. What did we do in the last part? Damn it! I forgot already. Damn it! Well, we did start onto... We're technically on the bad ending path right now. Even though I don't want to go there, but... From the walkthrough I've got, it looks like we could be able to save it. But we're going for the bad ending here. So, let us continue. And it's probably not going to go toward the bad ending until we get way in there. Because we're in Act 2. That occurs in Act 3. Unless it's a really short act, which it might be. Not sure. Alright. Hang on, was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? That even allowed? There is the curfew here, but I've never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. Even still, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast, and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still a little excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. I feel like a little kid planning to sneak out of his window at night. Well, maybe that's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party to 6 or so hours of lectures, I know which one wins. Bisha and Shizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once, they seem determined to actually complete Moto's assignments. Nevertheless, the day eventually winds up to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully, I don't run into Kenji. Before long, I'm leaving the boys' dorm. I nervously rap on the door marked 225, checking my watch once again. That's you, Hisao. The door's open. You can come in. Lily's voice loops through the door and soothes my nerves. This is the first time I've been invited to a girl's room after dark. It's not going to be the last time. Even though I know there's no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. One guy, 2 girls, in a dorm room, with a tea set. When I put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. Giving a small sigh at steadying myself, I gingerly put my hand on the handle and opened the door, craning my head to see inside. The door opens completely and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center sits a low table where I see a small tea set at rest. It seems that everything in this room has its place, possibly excepting the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up on the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup. It's hard to describe in any way other than girly. My eyes finish the quick sweep of the room before returning their position onto the girls. Lily sits next to the small table wearing very dark blue pajamas. Dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative light pink gown. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs, her shoulders forward and her head down, as if trying to hide herself in it. It would be easy for her to do. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress-up in her parents' clothes. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face, before vanishing so fast that I can't be sure they were ever there. There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao. I take a step into the room, closing the door behind me. My, I'm afraid this really is a small room for the 3 of us. Would you like to take a seat? I slowly walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top as I sit. Really? To be robbed of sight would be a most terrible fate. Really? Really, Hisao? Well now, how about some tea, Hanako? Could you please pour? Sure. Hisao, would you like... I would love some tea. Do you need a hand? No, I'm fine. Thank you. Lily finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day? Yeah. I relax at my place, opposite of the cabinet. To my left is the blue-clad Lily, and to my right sinks the pink Hanako. The tea set on the table looks cute as well as practical, painted red with a floral motif. It looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated-looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There's a slight ting when Hanako accidentally clips the teapot in a cup as she is pouring. She breathes in sharply. She must really be nervous, as if it's not the kind of thing anyone would worry about. Hanako quivers at her mistake. It's okay, Hanako. There's no need to be nervous. Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuring, soft-spoken words and deftly pours the next two cups. Here you are, Sal, Lily. Hanako carefully places the cup and sauce in front of Lily and myself. I could get used to service like this. Thank you, Hanako. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Lily searches for her cup, and upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. This tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice. It's so different from any tea I've had before. Looks like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move. Hanako's smile returned, redoubled. Even with her blighted face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. I'm glad you like it. Hanako, finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. Something about this makes me think about Lily's question at breakfast. Why am I friends with Hanako? Lily seems genuinely concerned for Hanako's well-being, but it's not like I can do anything to help her. As far as I can tell, her scars don't hold her back physically, and everyone I've met seems to have overcome their disabilities to some extent. I don't have any ulterior motives to hang out with Hanako. We just share similar interests. Isn't that enough? So, Hisao, are you enjoying yourself? Lily's words break me out of my reverie, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with two girls in their bedclothes. This is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing, almost like I'm not in school anymore. Do you do this often? Quite often, but not as often as we take tea in the school building. Considering we do that nearly every day, that's not a big surprise. As I move to take another sip from my teacup, I find it sadly empty. That was delicious. Thank you, Hanako, Lily. You're welcome. Yes, you're most welcome, Hisao. It's nice to have a third person here. Well, anytime you need someone to fill up that position, I'm always available. Always. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn, which she unsuccessfully hides with her hand. Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. I think we're all a little tired. My, how astute we are tonight, Hanako. We really should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow. Yeah, I should go. Thank you for your presence, Hisao. Thanks. You'll come again? Not even a whole army could stop me. I'm impressed by your determination, Hisao. Either way, you're right. We best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. You coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms into full blush. No, not this isn't... It's okay, I was only joking. Oh, okay. Good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Hisao. Night all. With that, our tea party finishes. I'm still not sure what it is that Lily wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I wait until the door is closed behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey Hanako, you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right? Right, we're friends. If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. Still have to have that chess rematch, remember? Sure. But I don't think you'll win. It wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could have just as easily been exhaling. Good night, Hisao. With that, Hanako quickly retreats into a room, located next to Lily's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. I barely make it to my room before I am hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of classes. Sleep well? Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump, and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh yeah, like a baby. Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard a baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask you, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth, that I was spending time with Hanako and Lily. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking the local area and stuff, recon. Good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was gonna get some takeout, but I needed change. What? I gave you money last week and you stopped and paid me back. And I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around in his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least 10,000 yen notes. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money off me when you got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing he's been had. Get off my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner's gonna cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Don't you think it's enough cause to help someone out? I'd get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe you should just plan these things a little better. Yeah, man, I know. But I got so much stuff to do. It's hard, and you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, you remember? Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and such. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. Be better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. They try to split us up, divide and conquer. Sun Tzu said that. Roger that, now I gotta get going. I got classes. You coming? Nah, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was gonna happen after splitting that note. That's rational as ever, I see. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurries back into his room, and I can hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. That is why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is longer than their big toe. Muto beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? I can see Muto deflate as he realizes that nothing he said in the past half hour has sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Muto identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her bags and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to... God damn it! Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her, or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think of the topic any further, the lunch bells ring. I wonder if she was just simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lily already sits in the tea room, setting out her lunch alone. So, Hanako's not here then? Oh, Sal, how are you? I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's alright, Hanako and Lily live next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. That's strange. She left class early, so I figured that she'd come here. So she's still leaving class early? Huh? Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head a little, and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who's used to hearing bad news. I was so sure that she stopped doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. Well, I was wondering about that just today. Why exactly does she leave? Not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone. I have a flashback of my first meeting with her, when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. but she seems fine talking with you and me a bit. It's a little more complex than that. I imagine the first thing most people ask her about is her scars and what happened. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell that she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. I'm giving her the wrong way. Damn it! Leaving class and running away from discussions that are a preemptive strike, if you will. Huh, so then how does that explain her talking to me? You said it yourself yesterday at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw that you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. You know it better than I, so I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her as well as I do soon enough. I welcome the prospect of having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests. Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It's good to have company, though. That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that. Huh, I see. I think. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little. That's only natural, Sal. We've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us, just as we can't understand you. But that is half the fun of becoming friends, right? Yes, it is. Although, I suppose there is the matter of us being opposite genders. Men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often. She says this with a light giggle, finding amusement in the odd little details of life. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating. Oh, go ahead. I think I'll eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back to the library before classes start, so I better get a move on. You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her. You're not coming? Well, unfortunately, I have a class representatives meeting later, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch. Okay then, if I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat. I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars. But that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lilly and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lilly quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow? Same time, same channel. Better head off too, I don't want to risk being late. Lilly smiles gently, picks up a can, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lilly as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lilly, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust, even if half of our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they are previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud. Yigo, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I. So, you scared me. Sorry, I thought you'd be used to that by now. Or is the literacy level here so low that nobody borrows any books? No, I think everyone here can read fine. Yeah, never mind. There are some battles that you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place. I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that. I just told you that I saw her leave. No need to stress out. Oh, of course. She's probably in the back. Thanks. Got any new books in recently? No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do, though. Okay. So one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, is that they appreciate people that take a genuine interest in their work. I walk the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to bet on the favorite than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author peeks out among the spines of the neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over new material, or old material. As expected, Hanako sits on her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance, Dance, Dance. Hi, Hanako. How's it going? I fight back the urge to ask why she left class early. If Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question. Hello, Hisao. I'm fine. Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds, I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual, instinctively frightened reaction. It's something I can hope I can get more of as we get to know each other better. Good to hear. How's that book? I've heard it's a trip. It's good, I think. I've only just started it, so I don't really know. Fair enough. Just let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. Sure. There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. And Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well, better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. The familiar style of the author leaps out of me from the very first line. As sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to the lack of time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds, she peers over the top of her book. When our eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout. It's nothing. I've told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position she'll find the word she's looking for. I was in an accident. Accident? Just now, are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in whiffs of amethyst on a background of pale and dark flesh. No, when I was younger. I recognize the song. If I'm not mistaken, it's Painful History? Yes, I got it right. This is Hanako's theme. So it fits. Realization crashes into me like a semi. When I was... It's alright, Hanako, you don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Again, she shakes her head. No, I have to tell you. I think we can see where this is going already. When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burned down, and I nearly didn't make it. And after that, I was alone. Hanako's eyes glisten in the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going. But I have to. Why? What brought this on? Last night, Lily told me about your heart. And I didn't think it was fair. Fair? That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me. I squeeze Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly, but yes, I have a heart condition. I lean a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lily is that I had my first attack when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension. Really? Really, I haven't heard from her for a while though, so I guess it's all over. I know it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. So now, we both know a little about each other, but you don't have to talk about things if you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about that whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako is going through the same thing right now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I went for the walk through all the wards. I went through oncology and thought I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward and I turned around and went back to my bed. To think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant, and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods that no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have books in my hospital. And she said she was alone. Did her parents die? I have to ask Lily about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally. Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this. To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either. Then I won't tell anyone either. Deal. I changed my grip on Hanako's hand into a handshake as the warning bells chime through the window. Well then, we better head back to class then, eh? Sure. Wow. That was all of Act 2? Act 3. Castling. That was all of Act 2. My god. Was that, what, an hour? Something like that? The tint of the room slowly changes from the shine of the afternoon to the orange of dusk. A clock lazily ticks away the seconds, counting in the background on the verge of hearing. But no matter how long I wait, the outcome cannot be changed. A diminutive playing piece makes a small click against the board. Like a wound spring, Hanako makes her move only moments after mine. It's embarrassing. In comparison to my 5-minute move, she seems to know exactly what she wants to do. Mate. Again, what does that make this? 3-2? Stalemates don't count. Damn, you're getting better at this every day. That or she's been holding back. I never have thought it when I first met her, but she really has a knack for this game. Chess seems to have become a popular pastime for the two of us, hiding away in the tea room and playing a game or two after classes. From here, the students outside can just barely be heard milling about. The everyday noises from below remind me a little of my life before Yamaku, though I'm by now well aware that it's a life I'll never get back to. Fancy another game? I have to finish my homework. Oh, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. But what about this? Hanako points to the tea set surrounding a mostly empty chessboard. Don't worry about that, I've got it. Oh, okay. See you. Later. Hanako departs as I start cleaning up the area. The occasional whistles and cheers from the sporting clubs outside become less frequent, eventually approaching silence. A part of me still wants to be in some kind of team. Since I played soccer and other sports before my accident, I guess it's only normal to feel nostalgic about what I can't do anymore. But I have other reasons that my coming here so often, and I don't feel so bad about losing that part of myself because of them. Lilly is a good friend by now, but it's the small exchanges I have with Hanako that feel especially dear. Small victories I feel every day as I see more of what she's like under her self-imposed shell. That's why I come here most of all. As I'm putting away cups and saucers, I hear talking outside the door. Pausing for a moment to listen, I can make out that it's Hanako and Lilly, and decide to go outside to investigate. Are you quite sure? I'm sure. Ah, so? Hanako turns to see me with a look of mild surprise as she notices my approach. Lilly must have just caught her when she was about to leave. Oh my, Hisao is here as well. Afternoon, Lilly. What's up? I was hoping, now that I've finished with my class representative duties for the day, that I might have the two of you accompany me for a tea at the Shanghai. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves outside of the school for a change. I'd be up for it. I think Hanako had work to do, though. It's not all that much. Wonderful. Seems we've decided it. I cast my eyes across the cafe as the three of us step in. As usual, there are only a handful of people around at most, and the noise level is a quiet background hum. The hold Lilly has on Hanako's arm remains just as it has been for the entire slow walk down the hill to the local town, though it's hard to say for which reason, for Lilly's guidance or for Hanako's reassurance. For a moment, Lilly removes her arms from Hanako's to retract her cane as Yuko quickly skitters over to where we stand, but soon replaces it right back where it had been. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? She gives a deep bow, her well-delivered and professional introduction putting her in a good mood. It's a nice change from the norm for Yuko. Just tea, please. Hanako, Hisao? I'll have a slice of pie and a coffee. Just tea, please. Coming right up. Please take any seat you wish, and I'll be back shortly. Yuko gives a smile and nod before shuffling to the counter, and we make our way to some empty seats by the window in quick measure. We slip into our seats, the girls on one side with Lily's cane propped up beside them and I on the other. I realize that Hanako's not doing something that she so often does. Rather than keeping her eyes pinned to the ground and hiding her blind escort, busily trying to convince herself that the world around them doesn't exist, she's merely keeping her eyes low and helping Lily around. You okay, Lily? You look tired. She lowers her head a little, looking somewhat embarrassed that she let it show. Class representative work can be very tiring, considering that it often means dealing with the student council. Very tiring indeed. How do the other representatives go? Better than I, but not by much. She's known as a harsh taskmaster no matter whom she deals with. Doesn't sound like you particularly relish the job. Why do you do it in the first place if it's that bad? Being a class representative is enjoyable, and I can deal with the responsibility well enough. It's just that the people involved are sometimes... She trails off, cutting her words off at a rather opportune spot. It's hard to imagine Lilly cursing, but I imagine that if anyone can make her do so, it would be Shizune. Hanako looks to be withering a bit in light of such conflict, but before I can steer the topic away a little, she stands up. Hanako? I'll be back in a bit. With that, she leaves for the restroom. I suppose that's one way to deal with the situation, if that was indeed her motivation. Lilly, however, looks a little wounded. Don't worry about it, I don't think it was you. But I think she's been getting stronger recently. You've seen it yourself, right? That went a bit awry. Fortunately, Lilly doesn't look offended, and by now I really shouldn't be quite so scared of stepping on that landmine around her. Possibly. Sometimes I find it hard to tell, though. Silence reigns for a moment before two teacups, a pie, and a mug of steaming coffee appear in front of us. I notice that Yuko takes special care to place the teacup against the tip of Lilly's fingers, letting her know where it is. Here you go. Thanks, Yuko. Thank you. With a quick and silent bow, the bespectacled waitress takes her leave. Oh, that's right. I was meaning to ask you something, and now would be the right time to do so. I'm all ears. Hanako's birthday is coming up, and I was hoping you might accompany me for present shopping in the city this weekend. Hanako's birthday is soon? I suppose it would be a nice chance to cheer her up a bit. Like Yuko, she always seems to be teetering on the edge of either panic or depression, and I've never seen her enjoy herself much outside of her chess games. All that aside, learning the layout of the city better with a friend keeping me company sounds like a good way to spend a weekend. Sure, I'd be happy to. You got any plans for what to do for her birthday? Partied or anything? Hanako being Hanako, perhaps a low-key affair would be. Lilly suddenly cuts herself short, leaving me to wonder why as she brings her teacup to her lips and begins to sip. After a few seconds, I noticed Hanako walking up to us over her shoulder. Lilly's hearing must be very good indeed if it was the sound of a restroom door opening that tipped her off. Hanako takes her seat once again and wastes no time in drinking her tea. Soon the three of us are quietly eating and drinking as the sun sets. It's a nice way to spend the remainder of the day's light, and it makes me appreciate the quiet and serene surroundings of Mako. I think I'm beginning to like life here, as isolated as it may be. I finish off the last of my coffee and rest the mug on the table while the girls talk between themselves. The coffee here is a little bitter for my taste, but still quite good, better than what I can make for myself in any case. The girls' discussion is mainly focused on their respective reading preferences, which does give me a little curiosity about a related topic. Hey Hanako, I was just wondering, aside from chess and reading, do you have any hobbies or things you like doing? She's completely stopped in her tracks, looking quite surprised that anyone would be interested in asking such a question about her. It takes her a little time to formulate a response. I guess I like singing a little. I'm okay with computers as well, but I don't use them all that much. Singing is not exactly something I expected to hear. It's hard to imagine her singing voice, given how soft-spoken she is. Lilly, on the other hand, simply nods. She must already know all this, since she's been friends with Hanako for 1 year or so by now. What about you? Me? She hesitates before quickly flicking her head up and down. It's only logical that she'd want me to talk about my hobbies after she's told me hers. There's chess, obviously, but also... There was soccer as well, though I can't really do that anymore. Reading, which I picked up in hospital, This is surprisingly hard. Lilly and Hanako look a little put off by the direction this is taking. The more I think about it, the more I am, too. It sounds as if you picked up quite a few things since your accident. Lilly's candor is coated with probably the most positive spin one can put on what I said. Hanako, however, is silent. If a situation becomes difficult, her reaction always seems to be withdrawing into silence in order to prevent things getting worse. That, or physically retreating. A soft ringing gives us pause. As Lilly reaches into her pocket, it becomes obvious that the sound's coming from her phone. Sorry. It's okay. Lily gives a quick nod before shuffling out of her seat and taking the hall a little distance away to avoid disturbing the both of us. Must be nice to be popular. Hanako smiles but doesn't take up the hook for further discussion. I end up just sitting back and closing my eyes, relaxing as best as I can. It's nice and peaceful here. I wonder what it would be like to have grown up somewhere like this rather than in the city. You come from the city? Looks like I found something she wants to talk about. Yeah, you could say I was a city kid through and through. It sounds like a lot changed. It did. I'm still not quite sure what to make of it all, though. It's a bit of a culture shock in more ways than one. Must have gone through something like this when you first arrived at Yumaku, right? I'd imagine most new students would. Not really. Hanako gazes a little to the side, looking unwilling to go on. I tilt my head inquisitively, but a couple of seconds pass with no further answer. But can't we deal with that on Monday? The follow is hardly settled from the last. I understand. I'll try to talk her down. You know what it's like when she gets locked onto an idea. Yes, thank you. I'll talk to you later then. Goodbye. Lily's conversation ends with the snap of her phone closing. She returns to her table but doesn't take her seat. Need to go? Unfortunately, class representative work calls once again. I can come with you. It's alright, Hanako. I'll just be going straight to the student council. There's no need to spoil a fine evening on my account. Besides, if you were to accompany me on the way back to the school, who would keep up for a Sal company? Okay. I can join you for tea again later tonight if you'd like. I may well need it. We agree on that plan, and Lily says her farewells to both of us, taking her cane after Hanako passes it to her. Despite my offer to pay for Lily's share, she insists on giving us her portion of the bill, and gives her regards to Yuko as she takes her leave. And then we're alone. It may be all well and good to leave Hanako and I alone to have some time together, but it all typically means the two of us sitting near each other in silence for a while. I wonder what I must look like to Hanako. I never thought of myself as a scary person, but to have someone my own age acting this way around me makes me intensely self-aware, as if it's my fault that she's so troubled. She might get more used to people if she stopped being so cloistered in Yumaku, but then again, why even people much older than her react so strongly after a single glance at her face? She may well feel the same way I do now. It's a real catch-22. If she stays in Yumaku, she won't get used to socializing, but if she leaves, any efforts she might try would get thrown back at her by the people who can't deal with her scarring. Want to order something else to keep us going? We haven't had much of a dinner, after all. Hanako brightens and nods vigorously, glad that I brought the topic up for her. I catch Yuko's gaze, and she dutifully comes over to take our orders. Would you like something else? I'll just have a sandwich special and a hot chocolate. Bit late for coffee by now. Hanako? Oh, I have the same. With a nod and a bow, Yuko turns on the ball of her foot and returns behind the counter, where she busies herself fishing up bread and condiments and working the machine to make our drinks. Not a word is said between us until Yuko comes back. She smiles and gives us her food and drinks, before moving to a customer who's called for our attention. I give up on the prospect of having much of a conversation with my companion and decide to just enjoy the meal as small as it may be. Am I talking too fast? It seems like I'm talking too fast. Might just be me, though. It tastes nice, as does most of the food here. After having a few mouthfuls, I notice something's missing. Namely, the sound of Hanako eating. Looking back to her, I see Hanako fidgeting a little behind her untouched sandwich. Not hungry? She shakes her head from side to side. Even as she does, the patch of hair she keeps over to the right side of her face still does its job in hiding it almost entirely. It's not that. Oh, I was all ready to have your share, too. You looked troubled. Is something wrong? I'm startled by her thinking that I'm the one who looks troubled, but on second thought she's probably right. My face may have given away my emotions without me noticing, and she's hardly a dim person. Quite the opposite. We're friends, right? Friends. From the tone of her voice and shrinking posture, it looks as though I've hit yet another landmine. Yes, Sal, yes you have. This is another reason why interacting with her is difficult. The self-imposed psychological barriers she puts up between herself and others, including me, and most likely even Lily. It's a shame that... I think that we are. I'm a little taken off guard by Hanako's straightforward answer, all the more so since I was about to give up on getting any reply at all. I see. Am I wrong? Sorry, I... No, it's just hearing confirmation from you that from you is reassuring. Pick up on what you said earlier. Since coming to Yamaku, I've been uneasy on how I should relate with others. I find myself chuckling a little. It's surprising how much of a relief that was. I can feel my face smiling as I pick up my cup of hot chocolate and bring it to my lips. Ouch! That's hot. That's why. That's why I haven't eaten yet. I was waiting for my drink to cool down first. I guess I'll wait then. Both of us share a little chuckle. The situation isn't really that funny, but for some reason it feels like laughing is the most natural thing to do right now. I guess we're both a bit wound up about each other. I was so busy thinking Hanako was the one with something wrong. It took her to remind me that I was uneasy as well. But be that as it may, it still feels a little nice. A little nice to have someone thinking about me like that, in her own way. Following a long, quiet trudge up the hill and onto the school grounds, the two of us find ourselves between the two dormitories. Regular night patrols pass between the male and female dormitory buildings, both for security and to quickly raise the alarm for any medical issues that may arise. The guard currently on duty notices us and gives us a quick nod as he continues on his way. A loud yawn escapes from Hanako's mouth before she has a chance to cover it. I have little doubt she's fairly tired by now. I'd better be off to my room then. See you tomorrow, Hanako. Good night. We separate and begin to walk our separate ways before I stop and look back. Hanako stands there, waving to me as she smiles. I smile and wave back to her, and after a few seconds, she turns and walks up the stairs to a dormitory building, disappearing through the door. These little moments we share between us feel like a small treasure. One thing is sure, I want to protect that small, delicate smile she so fleetingly wears around so few people. I wonder how these feelings I have when Hanako's around, when I'm able to do things for her, whether they may be the seed for something beyond what we share now. And with that, I believe I will end this part off. Now that it's 43 minutes long. So, next time on Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, odds are we're going to talk more with Hanako, Lilly, you know, the usual. Get closer to that bad ending we're slowly working toward. When are we going to get to that anyway? I'm not sure. We still have a few decisions to make. But until then, I'm Reckoning. You are the viewer. Drop me a like or a favorite if you like this video. Leave me a comment telling me what you think, and if I can do anything better. And till next time, keep on reading.